How does Tails fund his research, inventions, and laboratories? Throughout the Sonic series, Tails has had a plethora of laboratories, but you have to ask yourself, how exactly does he fund this? He also has a house in Emerald Town in Sonic Battle. He has a lab in the Mystic Ruins, countless planes, inventions, technology. How does he afford all of this stuff? It's not like he has a job, because according to the Sonic Adventure 2 wanted sign in Mission Street, it says he doesn't have an occupation. And given all the real estate he has, like for example, that little lab in the Mystic Ruins, in the New York City area at least, probably costs over $1 million. So clearly the astronomical cost of all these inventions and technology and real estate does not add up. Tails, will you care to explain to us how you got all this money? He won't budge. Sonic Riders. In the Babylon Rogue story, why does Sonic have his own extreme gear in the first level? So in the first level of the Babylon Rogues campaign, you will notice that there's only 4 racers. It's Sonic, it's Storm, it's Wave, and it's Jet at the nighttime version of Metal City. Here's the problem with this though. This is an original recreation of the cutscene that's displayed in the hero story. And in this version of the events, Sonic doesn't actually have extreme gear. Knuckles knocks Storm off of his gear, and Sonic uses that to chase after the Babylon Rogues. The reason why this doesn't make sense is because in Jet's story, Sonic is using the Blue Star hoverboard. This is not featured in the Heroes cutscene. Furthermore, Storm shouldn't have any extreme gear as he's seen riding on the back of Wave's hoverboard. Why doesn't Dr. Eggman refer to Metal Sonic as his son? Metal Sonic is said to be one of Dr. Eggman's greatest creations, but one of Eggman's newest creations puts the treatment of Metal Sonic under scrutiny. In Sonic Frontiers, we were introduced to Sage, who is now considered to be Dr. Eggman's daughter, which turned the series' biggest antagonist evil villain into a soft mush. When it comes to Sage, Eggman is such a great dad and he's so caring. But what about Metal Sonic? He has never really referred to Metal as his son in the same way that he refers to Sage as his daughter, so it's just kind of sad. And he also treats Metal like trash. How does Blaze the Cat remember Crisis City from Sonic 06? We've covered this extensively on this channel, but the inclusion of Blaze the Cat in 06 always had some confusing questions. How exactly did she end up in the future helping Silver the Hedgehog? Not really sure. There's a couple of lore justifications that have been made over the years, but we aren't going to focus on that. We know that the events in Sonic 06 eventually wipe themselves out, and it's like they never happened and all the characters do not remember. So my very simple question is this. In the hub world in Sonic Generations, you can go up to Blaze and talk to her. And one of the lines that she says is, "I never thought I'd find myself in Crisis City again. The world is full of surprises." So this implies that she remembers at least the events of Crisis City. But if everyone's memories were wiped, then how does she remember this? Furthermore, there is dialogue about Blaze and Silver's team up in Sonic Colors DS, where Silver says it's almost like we've paired up before, and Tails says, wow, maybe you guys were partners somewhere sometime. So the implication is certainly there that these characters do not remember the events of 06 and they were wiped out, but I guess this one must have just slipped through the cracks. Regardless, it doesn't make sense. In Sonic Riders, why is Sonic slower than the extreme gear? So the actual speed of Sonic the Hedgehog has definitely been contested, but we know he can at least go 767 miles per hour, which is the speed of sound. Although it's said that he could possibly go faster than the speed of light, which is 670 million miles per hour. So that seems a little far-fetched and out there. So let's just give him 767 miles for now. So as you can see, I have returned to the Metal City to investigate Sonic's speed in the Sonic Riders games. Let's start with analyzing the gameplay first. We are in the Metal City map and I have Sonic right here. Once you run out of air with the extreme gear, you will actually run on foot. Here's the problem though. There is a speedometer in the game so we can accurately measure this, and the fastest that Sonic is able to go on foot is only 150 miles per hour. I also wanted to test something out as well. I wanted to see how fast Jet the Hawk was. And on foot, Jet also reaches a speed of 150 miles per hour. So it seems like Jet is the same speed as Sonic on foot, at least as far as this example goes. And then with respect to the extreme gear, we're able to top out at a max speed of about 200 miles per hour. So it seems like Sonic the Hedgehog is actually slower than the Sonic Riders extreme gear. And I'll take it even one step further and start using actual lore examples for context. In the opening cutscene of Sonic Riders, when Sonic is trying to stop the Babylon Rogues, he doesn't chase after them on foot. He doesn't even own extreme gear at this point. So why does he not chase after them on foot and instead hops on extreme gear to try to catch Jet? Well, you can only assume that at least for this game, Sonic may not be faster than the extreme gear. And there's also one final example that could potentially allude to this as well, and that is dialogue between Dr. Eggman and Jet, where Jet acknowledges that Sonic may be the fastest creature on the ground, but with extreme gear, he would look like a joke.
He may be the fastest creature on the ground, but in the air, with me and my extreme gear, he's just a joke.
Sure, there's some ways you can explain around this, but I think we've done enough to sow some doubt in your head and chalk this up as something that doesn't make sense. Let's move on to the next one. In the Sonic Generations rewrites, why does Sonic act like he doesn't know how to time travel without the time stones? Let's give you all a quick history lesson. In Sonic CD, there are gems called the time stones. These are mysterious gems scattered throughout Little Planet, and it's said that they have the power to control time. When Sonic and Shadow Generations was announced, it was revealed that we would be getting a remaster of Sonic Generations, and this remaster of the game included changes to the original dialogue, which was certainly controversial. One of the lines written by Ian Flynn caused a lot of uproar within the Sonic community, so let's roll the clip first.
Places and enemies from our past? We're traveling through time, Sonic!
Without the time stones?
When this discourse dropped, Sega had all of you where they wanted you, while all the Sonic fans argued as to whether or not this line was written well, whether or not the voice actor sounded good. You were all distracted. Did you all forget the fact that Sonic is able to time travel in Sonic 06 with the Chaos Emeralds and not the Time Stones? It has to be one of the most central parts of the plot in that game. Now, I know what you may be thinking as a contrarian. The events of Sonic 06 were wiped out, so technically it doesn't count. He wouldn't actually know how to do that. Although I would kind of push back on that a little bit and ask if at any point in time in the story he has this epiphany and learns how to time travel with the Chaos Emeralds. It seems pretty much implied that he already knows how to do this. So let's say for the sake of argument, I concede this point to you as a contrarian because it is a fair point. They do wipe out the events of 06. If you take out the 06 argument, how exactly do you factor in the existence of the Phantom Ruby in Sonic Mania, where classic Sonic, who is confirmed to be the younger version of Sonic in one unified timeline, experiences time travel? This is not the first time that Sonic himself has experienced time travel without using the time stones. We also cannot forget Sonic Rivals, which in the current timeline is the canonic meeting between Sonic and Silver. Silver travels without the time stones. It's said that for Silver, when things go wrong in the past, a portal appears in the future for him to travel back. So I just feel like there's a lot of instances of this happening. So to me, I think that this doesn't make sense, but I think no matter which side of the argument you're on, you can agree that it's written a little sloppily. How did Amy Rose age 4 years in the classic to modern era? The story of Sonic Generations starts with Sonic celebrating his birthday. Being that this game is considered canon, one can only imply that Sonic has finally aged canonically. Except at the time of the game's release and several years after, this wasn't actually the case. Over the years, and especially in game manual, Sonic is stated to have an age of 15 years old. But even a decade after Sonic Generations release, Sega still had Sonic's official age listed as 15. So even though he had his birthday and he was 15 previously, he did not age. It also doesn't really help that in previous depictions, like in the Sonic Jam manual, classic Sonic, who was the younger version of Sonic, was listed as 16. Or if you look at characters like classic Amy, who was 8 years old in the classic games, but in the modern games, she's 12 years old. So that implies 4 years at least has passed from the classic to modern era. But classic Sonic was still listed as either 15 or 16 throughout that time period. And now, knowing what we know about Amy aging 4 years from classic to modern, was Tails 4 years old when he was saving the world with Sonic? Exactly how old was Tails in the classic games? Now it's a mystery. The same Sonic Jam manual says that Tails was 8, and also in Sonic Heroes it says that he was 8. So how did Amy age 4 years from classic to modern if the other characters' ages didn't change? It's just like this big walking contradiction. This has since been corrected by Sega just altogether removing the ages from the characters, which was probably their attempt at fixing this contradiction. But you still can't excuse the fact that for like 30 years this made absolutely no sense. Why did the government want to pay homage to Professor Gerald Robotnik at the end of Shadow the Hedgehog? So our introduction to Gerald Robotnik in the Sonic series is at the end of Sonic Adventure, he turns out to be the final villain, kind of, in a way, and posthumously makes an announcement where he tries to destroy the world. It was also revealed that he tampered with Shadow's memories to help him extract that revenge plot. And sure, there's context and nuance to his story, like, is he truly an evil person? I mean, he definitely didn't start off that way, and you can certainly justify his anger and desire for revenge, but ultimately, trying to blow up the planet and kill millions of people is certainly an evil thing. At the end of the Shadow the Hedgehog game, Gerald is revealed to have another posthumous announcement where he explains to Shadow that the Eclipse Cannon was actually designed to take out the Black Armed aliens. And after defeating Black Doom, this is what the President and the Gun Commander had to say.
How ironic. After the way we all treated him, he saved us all in the end. We were all wrong about the Professor. Let us pay homage to Professor Gerald. Let's work to ensure peace and prosperity for a brighter future. What do you say, Commander?
Excellent idea, Mr. President.
So yeah, I get it. There's certainly nuance to this conversation, but don't you think it's a little strange that they're honoring someone that tried to kill billions of people and was minutes away from doing it? And the president saying after the way that we treated him, first of all, the gun commander was a child when Gerald Robotnik was killed, and the president looks like a pretty young guy. I don't think he was even born. Maybe he means on behalf of the government, but would you honor someone that tried to end the world? I don't know if I would. Gun's evil too, so maybe everyone's just evil. I don't know.